Welcome back to Around the Clock. It's time for our Selectmen's Update. We've actually had 2 meetings since the last time we filmed. We had one back on August 17th where we were talking about the Rail Transit District and the development agreement with the landowner and an agreement with the developer.
Yeah, the Rail Transit District is so important. Commercial growth in this town comes up so frequently, especially at the override study committees. It's always a suggestion, and to know that in a few short years we may have some more commercial growth, and I love it. It's on my side of town.
Yeah.
I like that.
It'll start first with some apartments, 4 rent apartments in sections 1 and section 2, and then it'll be a couple years down the road they'll look at doing some commercial. But the developer is working with us and the landowner is working with us, so hopefully we'll have an agreement. And then this ties into the MassWorks grant, the $6 million MassWorks grant that's going to help us with some infrastructure issues along 135.
Awesome.
And then we had our first meeting in September. It was last night, September 2nd. We had a very full meeting. We were actually there till almost 11. Some good discussion about some different things. We had a public hearing in regard to a change of manager over at the American Legion Post. Their previous manager passed away, unfortunately, so they had to have a new manager come in. Then we also had a public hearing for Hantu. They are increasing the size of their restaurant. Right now, when you walk in the bar, and there's some tables. They're going to be moving into the liquor store that was just around the corner from them. So they're going to have a real family-oriented place. You can go with your family, have a seat, and you don't have to feel like you're in the bar having dinner.
That's really nice. We love Honto, and actually for the viewers to know, if you have an app on your phone called Beyond Menu, you can order online with your phone for Honto. It's one of a couple of different restaurants locally that use that app, and it's really convenient. And I love bringing the kids there. I have sushi-loving kids.
And their sushi is very good.
It is very good.
Then we also had an update from Dave Manoogian regarding our water policy. So a couple things are going on. You've probably seen the signs. We are currently in a stage 2 water ban. That means no outside watering, no topping off of pools, no fountains, no...
Are we stage 2 or stage 1?
We are in stage 2.
Okay.
We were in stage 1, and within about 3 or 4 days, we jumped down to stage 2. And if you'd like, on our Facebook page now, we have the interview with Dave Manoogian from last month's show, talking about the water levels and how you can go to the website and check those kinds of things out. We also talked about the Water Policy Committee. So this is a committee that was put in place after the town meeting in May to talk about, if we go with an MWRA connection, what decisions or how do we decide to put that connection, turn it on, basically turn on the spigot.
Right.
And how can we still use conservation? And so that's a policy committee that's been working. We also got an update on our fall road paving projects. There's a new sidewalk got put on part of 135. It didn't get the whole way of 135, and people were asking about that. So it's from Thorndike to 14 Carat.
Yep.
And then because the
corner.
Valentine property is looking to be developed, the developer will do from their property all the way down to Indian Spring Road, which is by the mobile.
And that's already done because it goes to the middle school, right?
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. Then they're also working on Cedar Street. So they're taking some of it down and resurfacing it. So if you're driving on Cedar Street the next week or 2, just be prepared for that. Mm-hmm. We also had an update from Dave Manoogian regarding the project that was done by Eversource on Main Street. If you drive on Main Street at all from 135 to the intersection of Prospect and Chestnut, Eversource had dug it up to do a replacement of pipes. They've left it in a horrible state. So we asked Mr. Manoogian about that, and he said, well, we've sort of put Eversource on notice that they can't leave projects like that, so we're working with them to see what we can do there. We then also had a parking discussion on Chestnut Street. So Chestnut Street, coming off of Prospect and Main, goes around to Warren Woods, and there are a couple of areas that have 2-hour parking signs. And because Chestnut Street is getting busier, there's concern that those cars trying to come out, or cars coming to come out, someone going around, that it's getting busy and we could have traffic issues or accidents.
And is that near the tennis courts that they're seeing a lot?
It's a little bit closer to the intersection of Prospect, Main and Chestnut.
Where the cars park to go down
into the state park.
Gotcha.
Right. So we haven't made a decision yet, and we're actually looking for input from the public. Do you use those 2-hour parking locations? Do you only park for 2 hours? So we're going to see. We haven't made a final decision as to what we're going to do. There were people who saying, well, if they want to go to the state park, they should just go to the state park gate, but the state park gate isn't always open. And
people get ticketed there.
Yeah, yeah. They can also go to the boat ramp. So we're looking for input from people. Do Ashland residents use those 2 hours of parking, or do we think it might be people from out of town going there?
I know a lot of dog owners from Ashland that will specifically, they either park at the tennis courts or they park at that one on Chestnut, because the dog beach is what people call it, is right down that path. And unless you're doing the whole loop or a half loop with your dog, you're probably just gonna go right down and not be there for 2 hours. Right, right.
And I know when I had my dog, we would go there routinely. He loved it there.
Yeah, so. And my dog's mad at me. I had kids, and we don't make it anymore. Sorry, Moxie.
We then also had an update from Nat Strasberg. So Needham Bank, when they came into town, gave us $40,000 to look at parking, possibly make some parking and ADA compliance improvements for downtown. And the planning board would like to do a study for parking. The Board of Selectmen recently have created a new mission and vision, a mission statement and a vision statement and some goals. Looking at downtown is one of our priorities. So we said, let's have a discussion before one organization spends money. So we'll see what happens there. We also approved some minutes. We made some appointments. We have a new crossing guard, Betsy Backstrand. We approved the BAA for their 2016 run. We got an update on the Cadillac Paint project. So Cadillac Paint's over on Elliott Street. The EPA is working with us, and there's an event coming up on, I believe it's September 9th, where people can go and hear what's going on about Cadillac Paint, because we're looking to get some grant money. We also talked about the public safety message boards that are used. There's one in downtown, there's one up by Warren Woods. We're looking to take the one from Warren Woods, put it on Route 126, so people on that side of town can know when we're in our stage 1 and stage 2 water bans. But I also think we're going to look at how we use those signs a little bit and possibly get some better signs. So, as I said, it was sort of a long meeting, but it was all good discussion. So, any comments on what you heard, Erin?
I think hearing about your focus on downtown, that the selectmen's visions and goals, and we're going through a similar process on the school committee, but being a resident for so long and having a downtown that's not as vibrant or not as easily accessible, not as well stocked with, I would say, stores that you want to frequent. Like there's like 1 or 2 that maybe, so to know that that's a focus for revitalizing downtown and addressing the parking, and that's exciting for me to hear about that.
Good. Well, that was our Selectmen's update. Stay tuned, and we'll be back with our school committee update.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth. Today I'm going to talk to you about the rules of back-to-school safety. Rule number 1. Plan a walking route to school or the bus stop. Choose the most direct way with the fewest amount of street crossings to help prevent getting hit by a car or school bus. Rule number 2. Parents, make sure you walk the route with your child first and tell them to stay away from vacant lots, parks, and other places where there aren't many people around, especially the free candy van. Rule number 3. Never ever ever should you talk, accept rides, or gifts from strangers. Ever! Unless you want to get kidnapped or poisoned. Rule number 4. Make sure you cross the street at corners using traffic signals and crosswalks. Never run out into the street or cross in between parked cars, or else boom, squished by a big giant car. Rule number 5. Always cross the street with an adult until you are at least 10 years old. Rule number 6. Never give in to peer pressure. Whether it's cutting class, trying cigarettes, or smoking crack, don't do it! If you need help, talk to a teacher or your parent or a school counselor. Thank you for watching my rules for back to school safety. Have a great school year, everybody. Thank you. Goodbye.